Hey everyone, it's Anne Manera, and we have another color along happening today. So today's color along is all about pointillism. And we are working on the page from Color Along Volume 18 coloring book. And the page we're working on today is this gnome. Now, I want to make sure, like I always do, is to have a piece of paper behind. So that's the first thing we're going to do. I'm using Crayola Supertips today, and we're going to be using, but you can use any brand. So you can use any brand, Crayola Supertip, markers. I'm sorry, markers. Whew. Markers. What I want to go over with you today is just kind of talk a little bit about what pointillism really is. So when pointillism is used in a coloring page as a coloring technique, it is really derived from fine art and as a form of painting. So it's a matter of placing dots close to each other or far apart, and then the closer the dots are placed, the darker the color becomes, or the denser it becomes. The further away, then the lighter the color would become. So two artists that really started the pointillism movement were George Seurat and Paul Signac, and they are probably the most famous pointillist paintings right now. And I guess what you really want to consider is that it's really viewed from far away is when you can see it the best. So, for example, here's one page here's an example of a pointillist coloring page, this cheeseburger. Now, if you take a look at the placement of the dots in this one, they're much closer than it would be, for instance, in this mushroom. But if you take a look at this butterfly, you can see the center of this page, or the center of the wings, is a darker magenta color or a heavier pink color. And as it goes towards the edge of the wings, it looks lighter. And that is created by putting the dots closer together and to make it darker, and then putting them further apart so that it can make it. So you can use different mediums. You can use markers, you can use pencils, you can use paint, of course. But you can also create different colors. So if you were to place blue dots and yellow dots close enough together, then it will appear to look green. Same thing with red and yellow, it'll appear to look orange. So I think that the other part is that what makes it different too is that you can place the dots is more of a shading or blending technique versus shading them with like a decorative thing. So some people will place dots so it's more of a decoration. Gotta give my dogs a biscuit behind me, by the way. Other people will place dots so it's more of a it's more like of an accent. Okay, this technique for pointillism is just strictly creating that color. What I am going to do on this page, though, is I'm going to create something in the background for each one of these areas of this gigantic gnome. And I'm using Crayola Supertips, variety of different colors, and I don't have them organized except I just have them in a box. But I want to create a gray beard on this guy, so I am going to color it with this light gray color. And I'm going to use that nice edge that's there. And then I'm going to go back over this beard with some dots. So let's start out with just the beard first, because I want to have a background. Now, do you need a background of solid color? No, you do not. You could easily have a simple white area and filled with dots. So it does not need to be colored in its entirety, which is another cool perk of this technique, is that sometimes we just want to do something quick. We don't want to take a lot of time. Maybe we're just kind of trying to fill some time. And these pens are cool because not only do they have, they have that chisel tip, right? So you can use them on the side like this to create a bigger area, or you can use them to create the dots, which we'll see as we move along. Now, the other part, too, is that see how I'm kind of getting this, like, you know, bleed or pooling of ink from these? I really want that to happen because I want it to kind of have a little bit of texture in it because it's a beard, and all gnomes have textured beards. I don't know about the gnomes that you know, but the gnomes that I know have textured beards. And now I'm going, so now that that's all filled in, I'm going to take a darker color, and I'm going to actually use a brown color. There's my brown. I'm going to use brown, which is this, just a very dark brown. And now I'm going to create some dots here. So what I'm doing is I'm placing my dots in these corners of the tips of the beard as it's kind of laying down onto his chest. And then what I'll do is I'll make them closer together as I get to these points, right? So a smaller area will have the dots closer together. So similar to shading. Think of it as shading with colored pencils. When you shade something and you have it look like it's really darker or heavier pressure in a closer area, and then when you get to a bigger area, you kind of lighten up. So the dots being closer together will make it look darker. As we make them further apart, it will make the color look lighter. Does that make sense? Leave a comment below if you've done this technique before, or if this is new to you, and what you think about it, you know? And remember to always, it would be great if you could also subscribe to my YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up, and like the video, because it really, really helps me out. It gets more people to show, gets YouTube to show the video to more people. I think I'm having one of those days where it's like, crazy over the words, stumbling over the words type day. Did you ever have one of those days? Too many things in my head, I guess. All right, so we've got all of this coming up, and see how I'm going lighter, 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 lighter. Further apart makes light. No pattern. I'm not counting the dots. I'm not adding the dots in any particular pattern, or that would be more of a decorative thing, more of a crafty type thing. Okay, so pointillism in its truest form is not really a crafty type thing. The other thing is that I just had referenced this to, showed you this page. This is in my Coloring Handbook Volume 1. And this talks about all about pointillism. And this also comes along with a worksheet for you to fill out to actually kind of practice using, for example, use all orange, or now create a red orange, and using yellow and red dots by creating that red orange. And if we were to do that, we would place red and yellow in this, and maybe a little bit of orange, and get them closer together. So to create that red orange, we want to get the dots closer together to create more of a different color. So it takes you all through here. This book is available on Amazon. This is one of three volumes of my coloring handbook, and there's different techniques in each book. But what's cool about these books too is at the end of the book, the back, I have 24 coloring pages also that will all come with that you can practice. And the coloring pages that are in the book are based on the examples that you see throughout each tutorial. So this cheeseburger's in there, the butterfly, and the mushroom. I think that's all I wanted to let you know about that. So again, closer together here. And I'm just kind of lightly tapping it. I mean, because think about it. If you were to lightly tap, you're going to get small dots. But if you were to go like this, you kind of have to be consistent. So I'm not doing this press down, press down, press down. I'm just kind of lightly tapping. Lightly tapping. And I also think that the more you press down on that, then you get rid of that chisel. So it affects the actual tip of the marker. So if you want to keep a point on these markers, don't press down. Like that anyway, like I just did. All right, so there's my brown. I guess we could call this guy Brown Beard. That's what I'll name him. And now I'm going to give his clothing this light pink color. And then I can add something else on top of it. And what I think is really interesting about using pointillism for this particular page anyway, is that the thickness of the lines really makes a big difference as far as that area that you're coloring in. You know, so that really makes a very, very, very big difference. And if you get another color on there, don't worry about it. I'm just going to leave it. So the lighter you color this, so you, like, don't press down, then you won't see all that pooling of ink. Maybe there's more of a professional term for that. But I call it the pooling of ink. I don't know. What do you call it? What do you call that when all the ink gets together like that? Kind of pools together. It's not piling. Piling is more when you, when the paper pulp starts to kind of come up, right? So we've got that color there. Now I'm going to take this pink color, this magenta color, and I'm going to add just some dots on this, on the whole thing. I think this is my favorite color out of the whole set. I think I actually have 2 sets of Supertips mixed into this box. Crayola is a great product. I don't think it gets as much attention as it probably should. I mean, I think that people think that when they're coloring, especially with the adult coloring hobby, that you need to use expensive products, and I cannot disagree with that more. Sure, the expensive products are great, but there's nothing wrong with just using budget-friendly, affordable. You know, what might be affordable to you may not be affordable to another, and vice versa. Last week's color along was all about using just a number 2 pencil. I mean, you can't get any simpler than that, unless you, I mean, you could use a pen. That could be simple. But you shouldn't have to just, I don't think you should not create something just because you don't feel that you don't have the right tools or the good stuff type thing. Hope that makes sense. What do you think? What's your favorite coloring supply? And I mean, and if you want to have that really expensive set of Faber-Castell polychromos, then of course go for it. I mean, it's all up to the individual person. Depends. I mean, sometimes I'm like that when it comes to paint. But I really do believe that your skills are not going to improve just because you bought a $300 set of colored pencils. I don't know. That's my opinion about it. What do you think about it? Should we add some yellow? Let's add some yellow on the hands. Let's make sure this works. I'm going to add some yellow here. I'm going to give him a yellow nose too. I'm going to have this gnome have yellow skin. You know, because he's a gnome. What color skin do gnomes really have? Truly not, I don't know, not, well, I'm going to add this color here. This is a golden yellow. It makes it look more like an orange color. And then this bottom portion here. Now, maybe we should go with an opposite of that. So let's see what we have here for a good color. I'm going to kind of go with a green color, I think. Let's make sure this works. And it does not. Well, we definitely need this color. Let's do some lavender and... By the way, I'm not the type of colorist that says, let me set up my colors before I begin, you know? As it is, I have them in an Amazon box. Come on, you know you save a box too, right? We've got to get my friend Scarlett to lay down. Let's see if she'll do it for me. Scarlett, come over here, honey. Come here. Scarlett says hello. Come here, baby. Come here. Come over here. Come here. Go ahead, lay down. Lay down, Scarlett. All right, so this is just this lavender color, and I'm going to go on top of that with the purple. Now, I did his shirt with just all dots all over, just pointillism all over, so it's kind of an even color. But for this one, I want to use, excuse me, I feel like I have a frog in my throat. For this one, I want to use a darker purple. If that's for his shoes. And I'm going to go darker around this area here. And then as I get towards the middle, I'm going to lighten up. darker here in this little section here. And then in this section, and then here darker too. So closer together equals darker, further apart equals lighter. Should be a song, shouldn't it? It sounds like it should be a song. Now we could add a little bit of blue into all of this, just to kind of change the color a little bit. Now this is where the squinting of the eye would come in, you know, where you would squint your eyes to look further, to pull it away, step maybe 5 feet away, to view it properly and to really get an idea of what it looks like. I mean, similar to Impressionistic painting, Pointillism is actually kind of a shoot-off of Impressionistic painting, where all of the colors are created with brush strokes and movement and texture. So there's a lot of rhythm in Impressionistic painting, and it really is meant to be viewed from, from a distance. So here is our brown color, and I'm going to use a darker brown here just to go over the whole shoe, you know, maybe go a little bit closer to make it look like he has a little bit of a sole of his shoe on the bottom, right, like there. So that's kind of creating that little shape for us. And then further apart as I get closer to the top of the shoe, or the dome of the shoe. But there's this little shoe. Now, as far as the hat I'm thinking should kind of be a light color, maybe to match his shirt. So I'm going to go back with this pink, but I am going to pivot this a little bit so we can get a better handle on, better grip on it. And I'm going to color the hat with this pink color. And now I'm going to add some dots onto this hat, but notice how I'm kind of leaving that looseness of color, or the open. See, I'm coloring it so that it's not really totally touching the page. So it does have a little bit of a streak in it to kind of create a little bit of that texture. And then we can use this red color that's right here. This is more of a brick color red. It's almost like a brownish. I'm calling it brick red based on the cover of the pencil, of the marker. All right, so just closer together in the corners of this, right? In the corner of that hat. And then all around the nose. Again here, kind of create that little bit of a corner. So we've kind of got these little bit of these clusters of dots, and I'm kind of trying to hold this down. I don't mean to be like, you know, using my middle finger to poke at it or to point at it, but I'm just trying to hold it down so it's flat. The flatter it is, the easier it is to apply the dots. I mean, that's just my personal preference, I guess. So we've got this cluster here, 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 and here. And now in the middle, as we go out to the middle, I am going to add less dots further apart. But again, there's no pattern, there's no rhyme or reason. I don't know how many dots I added. Just kind of flip it around and see how we did. And now we've got the background. Now the background I'm going to leave white. And I'm going to go in with this blue color. Let's make sure it's a working marker. You always kind of have to test it, right? And I'm going to go with some blue and some green, and this green right here for the background coming out. So coming from the gnome out. So close to the actual line or outline of the gnome, especially when there's these like little like nooks and crannies, as I'm going to call them, or like these little smaller spaces. So here are my nooks and crannies. nooks and crannies. Here we go, right? And now I'm going further out. And then what we're going to do is then add some of this marker that doesn't work. Excuse me. Some of the marker that doesn't work. Don't you just hate when that happens? You reach for a marker and you're like, is this going to work? No, it is not. I don't have that one. Okay, no judgment. No judgment, my friends. Here's this turquoise. That's even better. And now I'm adding just this turquoise color here. And adding that so it's coming out. And as we go further out, it will just be further apart, okay? So that's how the whole thing is gonna look. But I'm gonna start out with this blue color first. Again, nooks and crannies, this little kind of like corner spaces. I guess they're like the corners of it, you know? And then further apart, further apart, further apart. Here's some nooks and crannies here, further apart. And then I'm going to start over on the other side, nooks and crannies. This makes me want to have an English muffin. I don't know about you, but who's thinking that? So weird, I had a dream about English muffins last night. And now I'm talking about nooks and crannies. Have I attracted the English muffin language into my coloring page? That is a good question. And here we are around all of this section here. Again, nooks and crannies down here. Kind of like the corners. Now, am I going to come out from the sides? Sure, I guess, right? From down below. Here's another kind of like nook and cranny type thing. Another kind of like, here's the corner. And then we've got another corner going on up here. And all over the place, you know, like that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to, well, I forgot this corner. I know, I saw you pointed out. I heard your thoughts. Saying, what the heck? All right, there we go, right here. And again here. Just where those like lines kind of like jiggle and move, kind of zigzaggy. And now I'm going to start with my turquoise color. I already did some in this section. And now I'm going to add them closer to this part right here. And then I'm going to move further out. Okay, so I'm moving further out here, just so it's kind of changing color a little bit. Now, I could go back in and add, this is the green that doesn't work, right? We will just think I should throw it away? Probably, right? I could go back in and add a little bit of green, or we can add a little bit of yellow. Let's add a little bit of yellow into the mix, and that will kind of make it look like there is a little bit of green happening. Even though we've got this turquoise color, right? So we've kind of got a greenish bluish or bluish green. And now we're going to add some yellow into all of that. So let's put all of this turquoise color in all over here. I mean, I kind of think this creating these dots and adding these dots is a little relaxing. You can kind of like get into a pattern, a mindless meditation style situation where you're kind of thinking of nothing. Empty your thoughts. Just adding dots. Getting a little... The other thing is that less is more, right? So maybe you don't have to add too many. Maybe you just need to add, you know, just enough. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. So, you know, you can always go back and say, well, you know, I kind of think there should be more over here, or maybe I should have added some more in this section, or maybe this empty area that's kind of like right here is good enough. So kind of just take a look as you're moving along. All right, so I'm thinking that that is enough. Well, maybe I should add a few more here. But that's enough of my turquoise, right? So now I'm going to go back in with my yellow. Let's see what yellow this is. Oh, good, it's the bright one. And I am going to add yellow just amongst the whole thing. And as we get further away, and look at this whole coloring page from a distance, excuse me, you'll start to see that this area right here where the green and the blue dots are closer to one another, then you'll start to see that they are actually looking like the color green, because green and blue, I'm sorry, yellow and blue makes green. Whew. It's like I'm giving away the answer before I said the question. So head on over to the Facebook group, to the Just Color with Anne Manera Facebook coloring group. And if you're not part of that, there's a link down below in the description of this video, and post your page that's finished. I can't wait to see it. Let me know what you think about this coloring technique. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and tell your friends about it. I mean, maybe the more views that my color alongs get, then the more I will be able to keep creating more. So, trying to grow my YouTube channel. Remember, it's always free to watch a color along. But if you want to color, or you want the page that I'm coloring, then you can get that page in the color along books. And there's a a link in the description to get a book. And this page actually can also be found in Gnome Friends coloring book. Again, link is in the description of this video. And I'm going to call this page done. So lots of fun with this one. Let me know what you think about the pointillism coloring technique. And if you want to learn more about pointillism, or really kind of hone your skills and practice some more, you can take a look at this coloring handbook that's in again, the description. The link to this book is also in the description below, so you can take a look at that. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.